Next, we have Chinchilla.
Okay, so you just mentioned about renewable energy and its influences, and we think it's important. Yeah, we all think it's important. We'll think so too. Taiwan is also working on it. Our government has been working on a thing called the off-coast wind power farms recently these years. But this whole construction thing is widely debated and controversial because there are several groups claiming, like, for example, some is claiming that this construction poses threat on endangered species, like they talk about the white dolphins and other endangered precious species. And also the fishing industries, the fishermen were claiming that by installing these wind power generators, they don't have land to fish. And another news, the hit newspaper a couple days ago is that Taiwan's largest international airport, Taoyuan International Airport, is right at the coast. And by the construction of these power plants, the airport might be forced to shut down because they cannot land planes with so many turning fan generators off coast right there, creating turbulence or whatever scientific thing. In Europe, I know is that they've been using these kind of new energy for many, many years. And I want to know is that, do they face similar problems? And if so, how do they deal with them?
It's a very good question. And it's true that sometimes there is a trade-off, and especially with very large installations, then they're actually not good for the environment. Sometimes hydropower involves huge amounts of land being flooded just to create renewable energy. But I think we should avoid, I think that there are still solutions, and we shouldn't think that renewables are bad because of that, but it's just finding one that has minimal other impacts. Now, actually, we use up so much agricultural land towards growing crops for animals. Whereas if we reduced our meat consumption, we could free up land for other things like renewables. But then again, we have to make sure if we are growing renewables like biofuels, that shouldn't mean that we're growing biofuels instead of food. In Europe, I can say it's about trying to find the local speciality and then joining up the grids, because on some days there might be a lot of wind on the coast or offshore, and then that energy shouldn't get wasted. It should be stored. It can be transferred into hydrogen that can make electricity. It should be exchanged between countries. I know in Scandinavia, they're exchanging countries. So when they have too much renewable energy, they pass it on to their neighbor. It actually often happens with renewables because there is so much wind, for example, at one particular time. So I think, and yeah, the solution, it's probably not going to be having one big installation that has a big environmental impact. It can be to have lots of local solutions that are joined up. And I don't know about that specific case, but it's true that sometimes there is a trade-off and we have to minimize the other environmental impacts. But I think that every local region has a speciality, has wind, sun, has something to offer, and we need to also share it. Good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Then our next